It's not bad. I pulled it on the inside like this. Yeah. But you took the door.
For the fourth time.
Aloha.
Aloha.
This is B2B.
B2B living.
Hunnelle and Gregg.
That's me.
And we have, this video that we have today is an interview that we did with
a while ago.
Yeah, back in October. We just haven't had time. So it's an interview that we did with
William.
With Perma Pastures Farm.
Perma Pastures Farm, right?
Yeah. So we hope that you guys enjoy it. We just haven't had the time to edit.
All of you know, it's busy, right? Winter, and of course, first real winter, especially on the farm. Since we've been living in Hawaii for 20 years, it changes a few things.
I don't
right?
want to come out here.
Animals,
it's too cold.
All kinds of stuff. It's a great day today. It's 40 some degrees. The sun, Bob, the big orange ball is out there shining. Can't complain at all. I brought a hat to wear just in case. I just wanted you guys all to see my smiling, shining face. And don't forget, binge Jesus.
Amen. So roll.
If you didn't know how to do something, your neighbor probably did, and you guys, okay, and now we're trying to find a way to go do that and build that community again, because society has put us in those little boxes and told us, you don't want to be on a farm. It's dirty and hard work, and there's no money in it. Yeah. You want to go out there and work and have that nice office job and pay us back for the loan that you had to get to go to school.
Oh, and yeah, don't forget that one. Yeah, I lasted in school for half a semester.
Yeah. So, hey, Chihu, hey, we're here. We're at the Back to the Land Festival, and this is close to Linden in Tennessee. This is actually Pleasantville. In Tennessee. Really nice place. We're at a place called Nakomi.
Nakomi?
Nakomi, yeah. Nakomi, yeah. They have cabins. It's got a little campground area. They've got all kinds of stuff for kids. I think it's a church, campground thing. But we're here because the people that got us interested into permaculture introduced this event and thought about building communities and stuff. And so we knew we had to come. Tell us a little bit about yourself so people understand your background a little bit.
So my name's William, by the way. I think you just introduced me. Let me reintroduce myself. My mom, my mom mostly, growing up, always had a garden, and I always saw her going out there, and she had me going out there too and picking weeds and stuff like that. And I'm like, gardening sucks. This is horrible. We can just go to the store and buy whatever. And I'm a young kid at that point. And then we started figuring out, actually my first introduction was through earthships. And funny enough, the first introduction to permaculture was earthships, and I found earthships in middle school. And I was going on YouTube, and I found earthships and all that stuff, and I was like, wow, they're growing food in their house. They don't have to go outside and pick weeds and stuff like that. It's all right there. And then later on, my dad found Jeff Lawton on YouTube, the Greening the Desert. And that was absolutely incredible. What he can do, what Jeff Lawton did with just mainly earthworks and planting the proper trees and stuff like that. And he was able to grow an abundance of food below sea level in a place that might maybe get 6 inches of rain a year, and it all happens one time. One time, maybe. And it's more like they get a rain event every 2 years. but they average it out. So it's like 3 inch or 6 inches, and
Yeah.
it's just. After seeing that, I was like, that is how you farm. That's how you do it. And then also my mom's side of the family, they have cattle or dairy operations up in Pennsylvania and stuff like that. And I'm like, these people are getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Who wants to do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they stay out there and they just look miserable and
Well,
wore
isn't
down.
that one of
and
the
beat
isms of
down.
farming too, right? Hard work, low pay.
Exactly.
You're just going to be exhausted all the time.
Struggling.
And struggling.
Yeah, and that's because they're working against nature. And everybody who, on my mom's side of the family, all the kids that grew up doing that, they wanted to run from it as soon as possible. And I understand. That's not something any kid wants to do. They think, they watch TV and see this easier, seems like more productive lifestyle on TV, and it's always in the city and stuff like that. But
Well, in farming too, we were just talking about it also, like, hey, we're going to save those 2x4s that we ripped out of that
Right.
because we might need them again. And it's not that we're cheap.
yeah,
It's that, but why go spend money on something you already have?
Exactly.
Where in that other lifestyle, that city lifestyle, where it's make more money, just buy more stuff, right? So we really don't teach any value of anything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that 2x4, that tree can produce 64 2x4s.
Right.
Maybe I should look into milling, or maybe I should plant more of those trees because I plan on building a house in the future.
Yep.
Stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then, so for like people my age, if you're parents and you're trying to convince your kids to get involved in this, you're not going to convince them. They're going to have to find something that they take interest in. And then as a parent, maybe your role is to show them how it interacts with everything else. And then they're going to show an interest in everything else. Like there's a guy up there that does leather working. Yeah. And he has an interest in homesteading. He's here at the festival.
Right.
Yeah. But let's say you have a kid who's interested in leather working. Show them the animal that came from, most likely pig or cow. And then show them how to raise that properly, and then that gets the ball rolling and stuff like that. And then they realize, like, oh, this cow only does well if I treat it this way, and then, oh, this cow does well. Like everything else does better if this cow is treated a certain way, and then there's a compounding effect, and then now they're focused on making compost.
They find the appreciation in it.
Well, and not only that, but everything else that you get involved in through farming. Like one of the things we talked about for us, back to basics, right? We're in our 50s and we're just going back to doing stuff like this. But it's really about all the lost skills that we have for our kids and our grandkids, and like, our reason in Christianity is we're not preparing for us or even the next generation, but the next after the next generation. But if we lose those skills, those mechanics, those building skills, those farming skills, and we have to rely on somebody else, and they're not really doing it anyway, they're just putting chemicals into it to give us false stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And none of it's healthy. We just thought it was really interesting, one, the passion that you and your dad show, right? First of all, your dad, because when we saw him first, it was just like, I told her, I said, you gotta watch this guy. Like he is just, and his emotion is true. And then we just saw the knowledge, and you can hear it in your voice, right? And so that's one of the things why we wanted to talk to you. So tell us a little bit about the best day on the farm for you. Like,
I'm always excited.
well, you told me yesterday, right? Because I asked you, are you going to stay in North Carolina? And you were like, yes.
Yes.
Like, I hate it when I'm away.
Yep, I'm looking forward to going back every time. But honestly, there's all kinds of like happy moments throughout the day. Like whenever you move animals and you see them like excited, you see your animals excited about certain plants in the pasture and stuff like that. That's very exciting. If you toss say you see a dead snake on the road and you toss it to your chickens and see how crazy they go after that.
And they do. They get after it, right? Or something you're putting together for the first time, and it comes together, and you got a little bit of pride in it. But then when it really works the way that you wanted to, then you're like, hey.
My first successful spoon, and it wasn't a club. It was actually
It had some shape.
Did we see that one?
It had a crank on it. No, you didn't see that one. No, that one's in my room locked away because it was successful by very basic standards. You could eat with it without knocking your teeth out. Yeah, you didn't have to open up completely to get the spoon in your mouth and stuff like that. That's really, I mean, there's successful times. Getting new animals. Honestly, my biggest stress with the animals is making sure I kill each one properly. So the first time I killed one of our farm animals, I screwed it up. And I finally had to hunt down this sheep. I had to like climb on everything wrong. Everything wrong went wrong. Dad was out of town. There was a whole bunch of crap going on at that. Like, it was just me. I had to YouTube how to do this. And that was the worst day. That was the worst day.
But we have to go through those.
Exactly.
Because it created something in you, right, to make sure you got that right from that point forward.
And ever since then, I have not botched a single killing since then. Harvest.
Because of the way you felt about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I thought about quitting right after that happened. I was like, I can't do this again.
Yeah.
Like, I just put this animal through so much stress.
Yeah.
It went through more stress in that moment than it did at any slaughterhouse. And it was 100% my fault.
Oh wow. Yeah.
100% my fault. And that was the worst day. And it all's been better since then.
Well, but that's part of doing farming right or permaculture right. Is taking that event, because we're taking the life of something, right?
Right.
And taking that event as serious as it really is. My uncle raised hogs for as long as I can remember, and it was just in pig farms, right?
Yeah.
So, but to him, taking a life is almost nothing, right? He can do it very simply of an animal, right? Because he did it for so many years.
Right.
But when you watch people that do permaculture, or people that take farming serious, not like I want to raise a ton of crops and go out there, but that take kind of the back to the basics things, they honor that animal with the way they go about doing it. And I think that's important. That's something we don't see all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, because you're just going to start talking about school.
Right.
You spend about a semester, right? Because that's the big competition, right? We were just talking about, you don't see trade schools hardly anymore. There are some 4-H because we're in the Midwest and those kind of things.
Right.
Are we Midwest or East Coast?
This is the East.
Well,
Eastern
so where
United
we are, Eastern, right? So
States. Tennessee, I don't know. That kind of dips in.
Right,
It's like
what I'm
half the
saying.
United States.
But I mean, like, and on the West Coast, you don't see 4-H at all. Some schools will have like, a garden plot in high school, but it's shy away from that. Those silly people, right? Go do those other things, and like even automotive and those kind of things have gone away. But now it's all get a 4, 6, 8-year degree, go work in an office. So talk to us about your experience with that.
So you brought up 4-H and FFA. I don't know if you guys know Future Farmers of America. I was actually in FFA for land judging, and now I'm a permaculture design consultant. But that was and animal judging as well. And I had no idea that it would lead into any of this. But so I graduated high school, and I had a full ride academic scholarship to a university, and I went there for half a semester, and then I got an email saying that it was a mandatory event and I had to show up for this class because I hadn't been going to this class. We all go through that in high school and college. I had to show up for this class, and the class was teaching me how to use the school. And right then, it wasn't even my money they were wasting, but I was still pissed off. It was like, you want to waste an hour of my time to show me how to attend a school that I've been going to for a couple of weeks now. I've been doing it successfully this whole time. I've been doing it for 12 years.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And then I realized, like, this is a scam, and I'm about to waste 4 years to do something that I'm not sure I want to do. So I dropped out and became a residential electrician, and I've been using that every at least once a month ever since then. Yeah. And that I learned a skill that I could always fall back on. And I thought I was going to go back to school once I figured out what I wanted to do, but then I realized they didn't teach what I wanted to do in school. And if they did, it was an outdated version of it.
So outdated, right? And then it's just a couple of people somewhere that decide they want to rewrite the book, and they rewrite a book so they can make money, and then they get introduced into
I'd rather learn it the right way the first time.
Right, and honor what you're doing, right? Because and we were talking about this with our daughter and son-in-law all the time as we go into this, and how people really, and we were talking with the folks that are from Linden actually too, and how a lot of people just hate their job, right? And we do the job we hate because it pays the bills, but I mean, you really don't have enough time to put your time and effort into things you really want to do, but that's the way we're raising we're raising our
kids
and everything.
It's a vicious cycle of doing things wrong.
Go to school so you can get a job to pay for school.
That's the worst part. So you can be in debt forever, right? And then you're going to need more school because your skill will be outdated. So and tell us if you had to do something different what would it be to get you on the path?
Well, the first thing that popped into my head was to aim higher on that sheep, but also realize how small a sheep brain is. That thing is so tiny.
Yeah.
But something I think I would have gotten involved in. I think I would have taken this more serious sooner. I didn't realize like how an income could have been made from homesteading and permaculture and stuff like that. I just didn't see how, because I was thinking, well, like she was talking earlier about the $6 an egg carton. Like it costs, if you buy organic feed, it will cost you $6 a dozen to produce.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see like where that money, like I didn't see making an income for that.
Well,
like
that's some of that disillusion that people get excited and they get into this and then they spend a lot of money and it doesn't come to fruition the way they thought, or they look at somebody else who's successful and has put the years in, the 10 or 15 years, and figured it all out. And I think that's important too when people start out, whether younger folks like we're talking about, which he's in his mid-20s, which is a perfect farming age. Don't start at 53 like I'm doing, right? But to understand and learn those things, and understand you're going to trip and fall, right? And you're going to learn from it, and just apply what you learn and stick to it.
Also, if you wait for when you're ready, you've waited too long. That's another thing that I've had to learn is like, and I'm doing it as I speak. These spoons I've been carving,
right?
Keep thinking like, oh, it's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet. I just need to start selling these doggone spoons.
Well, and not to get off the subject, but she had a business before. She designed and made her own line of handbags. She does all her own artwork. But when she started, she was afraid to ask people. And just like she said, your time is worth something, right? Your time is worth money, right? And your time is worth money. The effort you put into it is worth money. And you know, what you do has value. Don't be afraid to understand that what you do has value. That's something nobody should go without. Everybody.
And the thing
value.
is, it's never really going to be perfect. That's the thing that I learned.
Intimately know every mistake and detail.
But your customers don't. Your
unless you
customers,
point it out,
because they appreciate your work, and sometimes those mistakes are actually the artistic part of what you do.
Who was the dude with the crazy hair that did the painting? Happy Mistakes. It was before me. Sorry, guys.
What's his name? Bob, right?
Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Bob Ross. Happy Mistakes.
Yes, and actually my best works, my best designs, I would have always been a happy mistake.
Well, even like when she learned watercolors, she's like, oh, I put too much and I did too much, and then she just kind of let it go. And then when it dried, she's like, oh, I really like this, right? So
that's cool.
So we appreciate everything you do, man. We love watching you. It's cool to meet you. It's even cooler that he knew who we were.
Yeah.
When we were walking by, he's like, I know you.
Yeah. I was excited about meeting you guys because you guys came from all the way from Hawaii. Didn't have a place yet. You just like knew you had to come here.
All the wrong ways that you should go about starting to homestead. But
hey,
like you said,
apparently it was the right way.
If you wait till you're ready, you've waited too long, right?
Yeah. You're never really. It's like having kids. You're not ready. None of it. You're not ready for any of it. So.
Well, and there's a ton of things, right? Opportunity is always knocking, right? Whether it's Jesus, whether it's permaculture, whether it's whatever it is. Something's always knocking at your door. You just got to open it and let it in, like selling your spoons.
Literally just open it.
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. And
fail
cool.
while daring greatly.
Yeah. And you meet a ton of cool people. You meet a ton of cool people from all over the place. And we've come across people that are kind of from where we were originally, you know. We met a ton of people from California that want to do this. We met people from New York. I met a guy who worked for Snapchat last night. I met him here. He worked for Snapchat. He's like, I got to get out of LA. Like, I'm with you, bro. But it was cool. You don't think you're going to meet somebody like that at a permaculture or back to the land event, right? And it's super cool. If you haven't checked them out, Perma Pastures Farm. This is William. He's the pasture-raised pimp. Dad gave him that name, right? He's got the shirt on right there.
Actually, I thought I wore my Always Be Composting shirt, and I was going to point it out, but there we go.
Help him out.
He's on there, right? Dad is Billy. They have passion for what they do.
Mom's Michelle.
It's cool that she's
Pimp
involved.
stands for permaculture is my passion,
Yeah, that's
by the
right.
way. Yeah, let me clear
Because I
that
thought I
up.
was going to do a video say, hey, we got to go see the pimp. That wouldn't have been good enough. But we do appreciate your time, brother. We do
appreciate you
appreciate everything that you do. We're
Yeah.
glad that we're here with you. So we say chee-hoo, that's like saying, yeah, right?
Chee-hoo.
Chee-hoo, right?
Chee-hoo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
in Hawaii, so chee-hoo.
Chee-hoo.
Thanks for coming. We'll put their link somewhere. I'm never quite sure.
Left shoulder.
It's over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Aloha.